Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media, and a bunch of Jeffrey Epstein's friends are bankrupt. Seriously though, Hollywood is facing a massive bankruptcy, and now they want taxpayer money. And that could be the case going forward. A bunch of aristocratic lefties that sit on their throne and look down on everyone else and tell people what privilege is and that they're privileged while they're living in a studio apartment in New York or in LA or somewhere around the country, living off of very little money. And you have these millionaires that pretend to speak for the people, telling them what they should or should not think. These people are horrible. And it's like there's very few good ones. And look, I was an actor. I was a musician. I love the arts. And the problem is, it's not art anymore, it's propaganda, and it has been for a while. And as this article at Zero Hedge says, a bailout for Hollywood stars next. World's largest movie chain prepares for bankruptcy. And we are going to get into this and more, but first make sure to hit that like button, share on social media to get around the shadow banning. Make sure to join our newsletter at www.iambanned.com. And of course, find us on GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, as we're completely viewer funded and demonetized for talking about this kind of stuff, as well as find our Flote.app, LBRY, which is now Odysee, and BitChute link below as well, because we are going to be off of YouTube by November 5th. We have no choice. Anyway, let's get into this article here. As it says, in what may end up as the most poetic outcome of the COVID crisis, one which has seen Hollywood starved for attention C-listers take their clothes off in hopes of attracting attention, making a political stand for either wearing masks or supporting the one presidential candidate who has all but assured more nationwide lockdowns are coming because scientists, Hollywood movie stars may be next in line for taxpayer bailouts. What could precipitate such an outcome? Well, if the primary source of revenue for Hollywood, namely billions in annual box office revenue, is indefinitely shuttered, then movie studios and producers would have no choice but to apply a very major haircut to those $20 million checks they hand out to their star du jour. Ironically, this is the outcome that appears increasingly likely and complies directly with Hollywood's explicit demands for continued social and economic lockdowns. The reason? AMC Entertainment Holdings, also known as AMC Theaters, the largest movie theater chain in the world, is rapidly running out of cash and is considering a range of options that include a potential bankruptcy to ease its debt load as the pandemic keeps moviegoers from attending and studios from supplying films, Bloomberg reports. They've been basically living off of Netflix and Crave and stuff like that. And of course, YouTube, hopefully BitChute and LBRY or Odysee at this point. Hopefully you're on Flote and all that kind of stuff, because all those old guard systems are dying fast and will not sustain this blow long term, because while propaganda has never been more in demand, they also can't supply as much propaganda, so they're forced to make stupid videos that aren't written by other people on their stupid Twitter accounts naked. And the fact is, these guys were washed up a long time ago, and it's been happening for a while. This isn't new. People were slowly moving away from Hollywood for years. We were seeing a low viewership for things like the NFL because of their gun control stuff. Of a lot of cases in baseball, we were seeing the same thing for television. We're seeing the same thing for a lot of music. We're seeing the same thing for a lot of, the big Hollywood companies that have been facing potential bankruptcy for years because they put all their eggs in one basket and expected this to go on forever. But all the new movies are remakes or terrible superhero movies, and there's maybe a few good movies a year, and most of them are independent. So what does that tell you? Anyway, continuing on with this article, it says, in advance of what may be the biggest movie chain bankruptcy in history, lenders to AMC who have hired Gibson Dunn as legal advisor and bankruptcy experts Greenhill and Co. as bankers have held preliminary talks among themselves about providing the movie theater company with financing if it decides to file Chapter 11 court protection, according to Bloomberg sources. And while the fresh cash would keep AMC in business while it crafts a recovery plan absent a wholesale return to normalcy, which is unlikely until well into 2021, after there is not only a vaccine, but majority of the population is willing to get vaccinated. Any liquidity injection would merely kick the can for a few months. AMC's attendance since the resumption of business in the U.S. is down about 80%. 5% from the same period a year ago, the company said. It's not just AMC. Last week, UK cinema chain Cineworld suspended operations because business is not viable as virus restrictions stand. Indeed, cinema chains are facing a chicken and egg problem with no near-term solution. As local capacity restrictions and audience skittishness keep U.S. theaters largely empty, studios are delaying most of their major film releases into 2021 and beyond, which gives consumers still less reason to buy tickets. Interesting how the fear spread by that industry has backfired. It's amazing how that happens, right? Now suddenly it's like, oh, well, we've spread all this fear, but now people won't give us money. And now we're bankrupt. What are we going to do now? And the skittishness really does come from the fear that they spread. And on top of that, you have a bigger issue than these idiots in Hollywood. It's the poor people that work on the sets, the poor people that aren't the big name people that, like, you see all these big celebrities saying lockdown, stay inside, wear a mask, do this, do that, keep the shutdowns happening, don't open anything. It's nice for them to talk from their mansions with millions and millions and millions of dollars, but what about their assistants? What about the people that work in lighting and the cinematographers, the people that build the sets, the handymen, the caterers, like everyone that you could possibly think of other than these idiot movie stars and their directors and producers. Everyone else needs to actually get by and have a way to feed their family. But they don't think about that. These Hollywood stars speak for themselves. I don't care if I lose some money. Of course you don't. You're a bunch of selfish pieces of trash that are calling everyone else selfish for wanting to be able to make enough money to feed their family. It's really a clear sign of how absolutely ridiculous these people really are. And it's sickening because at the same time, it's not just that. It's the people who work at the movie theaters. What about them? All the teenagers that are trying to pay off or pay money towards, maybe an education of some kind, even though I wouldn't suggest college or university these days, hopefully a trade job, if anything. But you have all these people saving money or trying to feed their siblings. Poor families out there abound because everyone's poor right now because of this insanity. Then on top of that, you have other industries. You have the restaurant industry. You have the retail industry. All these places are going out of business. Small businesses cannot compete against the big ones. So now the monopolies reign once again. And you hear all these people on the left who usually hate this kind of stuff go, oh yeah, keep doing this. It's good for us. Why think about the economy over health? Well, the health is dependent on the economy. The worse the economy is, the worse people's health is. It's not rocket science. Carrying on, it says, in short, as Rabobank's Michael LBRY said recently, the movie industry, how we watch them and sow the money for how they are made, if they are made, could be dying, indicative of a whole key slice of the service sector economy. And while the situation remains fluid and plans could change, according to the report, what really matters, at least to Hollywood, is that ticket sales have cratered because state and local officials are urging moviegoers to stay home. Ironically, so do Hollywood's own stars, which I was saying earlier. And this is interesting too because you have all these all these Hollywood stars again talking about the poor, and then a lot of them would likely happily support a bailout. They've supported arts funding stolen from the poor and given to them for years. In some cases for stupid modern art displays where someone draws a dot on a white wall and says $1 million. I mean, this is the kind of garbage that really perpetuates the poverty in the country, and people should really stand up. If they want entertainment, they got 100 years of entertainment to watch if they want it. At what point do you go, okay, well, they are robbing us, they are propagating us to try and destroy us and perpetuate poverty and dismay within the public, and at what point do we go, maybe we should really, if anyone's going to be shut down, we can shut down them, the government that's stealing from us, the banks that are going to repossess all of our stuff because of the mandates of the government. At what point do we say maybe that's the problem? Maybe it's not the people that want to go for a walk outside without a mask. And then, of course, they say, oh, well, just wear the mask and then our freedoms will return. Yeah, that's a great way of looking at things. Give up your freedom so you can get your freedom back. It's insane. That totally hasn't ever ended badly in history. Anyways, guys, we need to keep watching this closely, and we will. And just don't fall for the traps. These people are just terrible aristocrats. under the guise of standing for the poor and the helpless and the minority. And don't fall into the slave camp of these people, because it's a cult and sometimes you never get out. So be independent, and be an individual, be responsible for yourself, be self-sustainable, live free, live by example, and stop falling prey to these bunch of mosquitoes. Anyways, I really appreciate everyone watching. Make sure to hit that like button, share on social media to get around the shadow banning. Check those links below. Join our newsletter at www.iambanned.com. Of course, join us on GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. We have a Bitcoin address. We have a CoinTree address as well, with a bunch of different Bitcoin or crypto addresses on it. Anything helps because we are completely viewer funded. And of course, you can find us on Flote.app, Odysee, formerly LBRY, and BitChute, linked below. I really hope to see you guys there. We have a Teespring store where you can get merchandise, and we're on all these other platforms. Find us on Instagram, stuff like that. You know, we really appreciate any support we can get. Anyways, I really appreciate everyone watching today, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for CoinTree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on Flote.app, Flote.app, as well as BitChute and LBRY and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.iambanned.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.